Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to the Couchside Judges. I'm Scott Fontana. Follow me on Twitter and Threads at Scott_Fontana.
And I'm Dan Urban. Follow me at the Dan Urban. Follow the podcast at Couchside Judges. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, everywhere. We appreciate that.
We sure do. And I hope you're enjoying the show. I hope you've enjoyed the week, and I hope you didn't mind that we were a little late this week.
And we're talking MMA judging. Shocking. Make sure you read the criteria.
Please do. We're going to be talking about it a lot today.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we do, you know.
Yeah.
We're not going to obsess over it, but, you know, obviously, like I said, we were delayed this week. Usually we're a Monday show. This is a Thursday episode. It's the second time, too, we've been delayed, but also we're going to get back to normal soon. But the reason why we're delayed is Dan here, ironically, went out to Vegas, not to watch the fights, but to participate in the World Series of Poker.
I would have watched the fights if someone invited me.
That's true.
No one did.
Well, I think it's messed up that Dana didn't just call you over.
Honestly, I don't know why.
Should have found him at the roulette table.
Because
the blackjack. That's his game, right?
They should have brought me there, like, to just start watching over for the job I'm taking over, Mark Ratner's.
Of
at
course.
some point.
Yes,
So
you're obviously taking over Mark Ratner's job. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I should.
I, for the record, I think Mark Ratner does a terrific job.
He does, but he's not going to be there forever.
Sure, that's true enough.
You got to start grooming me to take over, so it's an easy transition.
I think they have a plan in mind.
And it should be me.
It doesn't involve you.
That's unfortunate.
I'm sorry. It is what it is. But how was Vegas? I mean, did you have a nice time? You can't share everything, but how did the poker series go?
Good time. I lost. That's about it. That's tournament poker for you.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A lot of variance.
What was the hand that beat you?
There's a few. I
one that knocked you out.
I played 3 tournaments.
All right.
One of them, sevens versus ace king, classic flip. Lady hit a ace on the turn. Nines versus ace king, another classic flip. Guy flopped a king. And the other one was not very classic, but I had 10 bigs. Anyone that knows poker, like 10 big blinds, you get a decent hand, you got a shove. I had jack 10 suited, I jammed it. Got called by ace jack. Totally dominated. Flopped a flush. And we're out. And we're back home with sunburnt knees.
You know, I understood parts of what you said there.
Okay.
Yeah. I heard flush and flop.
Okay.
And I think I knew that.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. But you said you sunburned your knees. Now, I'll lift the lid here a little bit. Dan and I actually started recording about 5 minutes ago and did not realize that we weren't recording. We just talking into the void. Fortunately, I dropped an unusual F-bomb that we were going to have to bleep out, and I looked at the timestamp, and Dan also realized, we're not recording, so we started over. Dan had already relayed the fact that he did have sunburned knees, which surprised me, because I also sunburned my knees in the last few days, and we couldn't believe it. So just relive the surprise with us right now. Amazing! I can't believe that happened. We didn't plan that, but
yeah, make sure you sunscreen on your legs.
Just your knees. No. Just your knees.
109 degree Vegas sun apparently penetrates water. I was unaware.
That is actually
so.
True. I did know that. It kind of magnifies it.
Yeah, well, the way my legs look, I have to agree. So
yeah. Well, I just made the mistake of thinking, my legs usually don't get burned, and most of my legs did not get burned, except the part of them that's always covered up by my shorts. And when I wear, I'm not wearing a Speedo here, but the bathing suits I wear are shorter than my baggy shorts that I like to wear, my athletic shorts. So it left that part exposed, and it's like, well, we're not used to this, and so they didn't like that too much. I covered it up, but it was too late.
Got roasted.
Yeah, I'm at the itchy stage. You're not quite there yet, right?
No, I'm still in the pain stage.
Sorry to hear that. I also have, Dan, I don't know if I showed you, but I also have what I am called, like, people are saying, it's a farmer's tan. I call it a reader's tan because you can see here, it looks like a farmer's tan. I'm showing Dan here that I have the line, right, where the short sleeve ends, but it doesn't work on the other side. It just looks normal because I don't have a farmer's tan. I wasn't out farming the field and getting sun everywhere. Part of it was obscured by the fact that I was reading the whole time. My Bo Jackson book that I finally got.
Is it called Bo Nose?
No, this one's not. I think there might be a Bo Nose book. That's an old one. There's a new one.
Okay.
No, it's a new biography by somebody else. It came out last year, and I got it for Christmas. I was really excited for this, and so far it's been really fascinating.
Okay.
So I'm super into it. But yeah, that's another lesson. If you're reading and you think your arms are gonna be fine, you're dumb. Not pointing out any people who've ever been dumb in that particular way, but if you think that, you're dumb. That's all.
Yeah.
Draw your own conclusions. Anyway, we missed, obviously, being able to talk right away about the latest UFC fight night that, I mean, I don't know how many people were like super excited for it. I actually liked a lot of the depth on the card. I just didn't like the main event here, which, yeah, it ended up being an impressive. We're not going to go deep into this because it's days old, but I thought it was at least an impressive performance by Sean Strickland after weathering kind of a first round, and I wouldn't say weathering, but kind of waiting out what he probably figured was an early storm, and then crushing it round 2. But also, Abus Magomedov is severely outside of his depth in terms of rankings position. Like you go to Fight Matrix, Abus was 59th going in. Go to Tapology, he was 35th. Wherever you go, you have Sean Strickland as a top 5, top 6 guy. It doesn't. They shouldn't have been paired together, and this wasn't. I don't remember this being a like last minute change, right? This was planned.
I'm as far as I'm concerned, yeah.
I think it was. So it was a stupid fight that shouldn't have been made, but Strickland looked good. But are we impressed enough with Sean Strickland's win to the point that he should actually be getting the next title shot?
No, you got Duplessis and Whitaker to settle in for that this weekend.
Would you say Whitaker a third time if he wins that fight though?
Yeah, or that's who Strickland has to fight and beat to get the next shot.
Yeah, maybe. I think that'd probably be. I would be more okay with that. I think. Did they fight already? I can't remember.
I mean, Strickland's last title shot was awful.
Strickland didn't get a title shot. He
had the title eliminator with the former champion,
who he's now training with and probably getting beat up on a more regular basis.
That enough says I pump the brakes on that title shot.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, no, they have not fought, actually, I would say. So that would be a fresh matchup. I actually don't hate the idea of like that you said that you put the winners against each other. But if it's Dricus, like, they don't want to do Alex Pereira because reasons, I guess.
Well, he's 205 now.
But, like, if the guy got another title fight at 185, was he going to say no?
No, he's not, but I don't think Izzy's not going to give it to him.
But that's what's stupid. That's not what's supposed to work. You remember when, this is going way back in history, remember Tito wouldn't give Chuck Liddell a title shot?
Well, yeah, they used to be friends, and they weren't friends.
Yeah, but, like, that was against the UFC ethos, right? And Dana kind of, like, made things happen, right?
I think that's how every single fight should be. You get paired up, and that's your fight, and that's it. And that's that.
I don't think Aljamain Sterling wanted to fight in August, but didn't seem like he had much of a choice. It kind of just got made, and he's like, I guess I have to do this.
Yeah, but there's people that get that luxury of saying no.
Sure.
And
usually it's people who've defended their title a few times in a row. If only Aljo had done that.
Like, yeah, well.
I'm just saying here, anyway. But yeah, that I think it'll be done. But I actually do like your idea. If Whitaker does win, I think him versus Strickland, that would actually produce a fight where it's like, all right, you can't really argue anybody else if it's not going to be Pereira. It's really this fight, even if it is Whitaker who comes out at the top. But I don't love Whitaker getting a shot off of that fight. I just don't love it. I don't know. Nothing against Whitaker. I really love him. I think he's a fantastic middleweight. I think he's in the wrong era. That's what it is.
Middleweight's such a disaster.
It also is. That's true. You're not wrong. Shout out to Sean Sheehan, who also has been beating that drum for probably longer than we're saying.
If Bo Nickel is super impressive this weekend, I expect him to be. Why not just throw him in there?
I'm almost at the point where it's like, shoot, I'd almost be okay with it. But no, I'm still not.
That would be a hell of a story.
It would be a hell of a story. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Anyway,
that's my guy, Bo Nickel.
We don't want to belabor the point too much because we're again closer to the next weekend than the last weekend. So let's think about the fact that, hey, you're listening on Thursday. Tonight, friends, is the UFC Hall of Fame induction. And I just wanted quick thoughts, especially from you, my friend here, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Quick thoughts on the inductees. Anderson Silva.
Goat.
Goat, period.
Just a goat. A goat.
A goat. Jose Aldo.
A goat.
But you haven't always loved Aldo.
Haven't always loved him, but you got to respect him.
Sure. I think that's fair. Jens Pulver.
Pioneer.
For sure. Donald Cerrone.
Gangster.
Should he be in the Hall of Fame? That's been the question.
Yeah, why not? He's a journeyman. I'll give him that. But he gave us a lot of fun moments.
So the goofy follow-up question that most people would ask and then have a debate over, but I know what you'll say. Does that make Jim Miller a Hall of Famer too?
Jesus. without a doubt.
Yeah, that was pretty much the response I was looking for. And then Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald, number 2.
Crazy fight.
Amazing fight.
Yeah.
It's one of my you want to say it's not the greatest fight, whatever. I don't know. There's been a lot of revisions in history now. But it was one of the most fun fights that I can remember experiencing.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. When they're staring at each other after the round, like round 4, I think it was. And they're just in each other's face.
Yeah.
Blood out, that's just a moment.
It was a wild fight. I can't believe they actually let that go. I don't think every referee lets that go with the
The split lip.
The split lip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Blake Rice might not have.
The Vermilion, right?
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. That's fascinating too. That it got to that point.
Blake Rice and Jaron Fillell were very adamant about that part of the body.
Like people use the term war, right? Like this was if you're talking about in the context of fighting and not in the context of global conflict. This is war. This was war.
They went to battle, and it's like, yeah, what a fight.
It was. On to, again, past weekend contested rounds.
Honestly, they should play that fight before they induct it. Like, play it in its entirety.
Everyone just watches it and enjoys it?
Yeah, like on the screen.
Maybe they will.
Like, if they get a lot of finishes or something, got time to kill, just play that fight.
Oh, on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you meant like at the induction ceremony. Everyone in the crowd just watches it.
That could be too.
That would be good too.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Play it twice.
Yeah. I hope Rory goes because I don't know. He didn't participate in any part of the video packages and stuff, and he can be he's a little different, So I hope he's there. But anyway, again, to get back to old business, our usual business, contested rounds, where we go over all of the split rounds. The unanimity report, before we even get into that, is that there were 21 rounds scored in total, 15 of which the judges were agreement unanimously for a 71.4% rate, which is almost exactly on the button for the average. This is about as close as you get for an average day at the office with 1 9/8 split.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, as I pointed out to you, sir, all of the split rounds that are over the winner of the round are female fights, women's fights. The 8-9 is in the 1 male fight on our board here. So we'll get to that one. But first, let's lead off with a fight that I didn't think was all that controversial. And I don't think many people did. It was one that was very split down the middle for the few people that weighed in media-wise on MMA Decisions. That Ariane Lipski got the split decision win over Melissa Gatto. He had 3 different scores. That's always one thing that kind of perks people up, right? Because we got a couple rounds. 30-27 and 29-28, and then a 28-29 or 29-28 the other way for Gatto. Which means we got rounds 1 and 2 here. The reason why we're leading off with this in particular, it's not just because it's a split decision with 2 rounds here, is that one Twitter personality in particular, a noted MMA bettor and I guess bettering advice guy, I don't know what you would call him, right?
MMA handicapper.
Handicapper, thank you. Word escaped me. Luca Fury. To be perfectly honest, I have no issues with personally. He seems like a decent guy whenever we've interacted or whatever. But he went ballistic, for lack of a better term here, and threw a tantrum, I think is also an accurate term, for the way he reacted to the decision of this fight. And it was singular in such a way that I didn't see anybody else bat an eyelash over this, except he went into a monster tirade throughout for like a while on social media that night about judging corruption and how, we got to get Sal D'Amato and Chris Lee out of here and all that kind of thing. Meanwhile, incidentally, he saw it the same way as Adelaide Bird, who was the judge who saw this for Melissa Gatto. Now, I have nothing against Adelaide Bird, but she, like many judges, has been a punching bag of the MMA community before, and I'm sure, if I was to guess, probably Luca Fury in the past. So we're just kind of picking and choosing when we get mad here, and I'm just going to point that out. But anyway, I didn't think we were going to have to talk that deep about this one. Let's talk about the rounds, and then let's go a little deeper. So round 1. What happened in this round?
It's a pretty close round. Lipski's pressing forward, seems to be the one landing early, but Gatto...
Can we also point out, they didn't do anything for about 40 seconds.
They did. They just walked at each other.
Yeah.
Gatto's able to start landing her counter shots while she's going backwards. I think on the whole, Gatto has a better round, but Lipski does land a couple good shots, especially the right hand that has Gatto kind of off balance for a brief second. She landed a good body kick. If you can't see how someone would score this for Lipski, it's just that you're wildly biased. You need something to blame it on for your bet not cashing, and that's it. This is just a close round.
If you don't see the fact that this is a relatively close round, a reasonably close round, I should say, I don't know how to help you. I really don't. This is you're gonna have to talk to more expert personalities than probably myself and really start picking the brains and things like that, which I recommend if people go to the MMA officials training in just a few weeks in Las Vegas. Anybody who lives out there, check out the ABC website for that. Contact Mike Mazzulli. if you are interested. That would be my suggestion to anybody. But to get back to this round in particular, what's the problem here? What is the problem here?
The problem is he had one bet on this card, and this was that fight, and that's the problem.
That's exactly true. In the case of Luca Fury, absolutely.
That was the only problem.
That is exactly the problem. But again, like I can't believe this is the fight that we're getting upset about. Like, man, we've seen fights week to week, and you and I are like, oh, what's everyone upset about? But at least everyone's upset. So like, I don't know if it's, sometimes it's like a groupthink kind of thing. Some people see it and they just go along with it because they want to sound smart, right? I feel like that's a lot of it. But that didn't happen here. That really didn't happen here. So where did this come from? That's what I don't get. It's just nuts.
It comes from the spot where you see it in bettors where they lose and then they come out with, man, we did the tape. We did it. we were on the right side and the judges screwed us.
It's always weird,
we were on the right side. And it's like, were we watching the same fight? Because it looked very competitive and close to me. Like, what do you mean we're on the right side? By far, not a blowout. Or the guy that gets knocked out, and they're like, yeah, we were on the right side if he didn't get punched in the face. Well, yeah.
Bad beat there.
What are you going to do with that?
Shoot. If only he didn't land that giant knockout spinning heel kick. I still can't believe this is the round that we're mad over. Now, granted, Sal D'Amato is the out judge here, right? He's the one who gave the 30-27. And of course, no one is a bigger lightning rod in modern MMA judging conversation than Sal D'Amato, which comes entirely, in my opinion, from the fact that he's on not almost every fight, but he's on way more fights than any other judge.
Shocking. He's on so many main events that it was shocking to hear he wasn't on the main event
I was surprised too. Yeah. I was surprised as well. So, but yeah, that was. You know what? I will say this. I'll get back to these rounds in a second, but I did want to highlight that. I'm glad you talked about that. I think it's really great, and you know me. I think Sal D'Amato is a terrific judge. I defend him. I didn't defend him on that one round a couple weeks ago, but that's, like I said at the time, that is the only round that I can really remember where I said I just don't see it the way Sal did. But the fact that we're actually seeing a whole set of 3 other judges in Las Vegas, which does attract the best pool. We're seeing 3 other judges get the main event assignment, which, hey, when it comes down to it, this fight may not be that much more important than anything else because, like I said, it's a stupid matchup that almost seems set up to give Strickland a win, but it's still a main event. And I think it's really great to give more main event experience to the general population of those Vegas judges, which are fantastic judges. So I like seeing it. I'm not saying Sal D'Amato doesn't deserve more main events, but if they rotated it more in Las Vegas than they have, I think that would be fantastic. I think that everybody actually wins there. Because first off, especially Sal D'Amato, he's not going to hear his name out there all the time,
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be the lasting memory for anybody. Someone else can get a turn, right? But also, it gives many more chances for these other judges to get the baton a little bit in those main events that maybe they're not getting it as much. Like a Ron McCarthy, who I think absolutely deserves more main events than he gets. These type of people. And I think that's great. So not to get too far away from this fight, but I thought that was something to highlight. I'm glad you brought it up. So thank you. Want to head on? Well, I should say, yeah. So Sal D'Amato was the out judge here. It was judges Adelaide Byrd and Chris Lee who saw this one for Gatto in this case. And, well, I did too. So, but super close. Still don't know why it's crazy. But anyway, round 2.
Both start the round off with a pretty good exchange. Gatto with a kick, Lipski with a knee. At distance, Lipski is landing better, especially the leg kicks. A decent amount of this round is spent in a cage clinch and exchanging knees. Gatto's landing more knees, but none are particularly strong. She definitely has the volume there. I think the throw that Lipski lands may be the most impactful thing up until this point.
I think you're right. This is a decent slam.
It was a good throw there.
Yeah, slam throw. the impact is kind of what I mean.
Yeah, I mean nothing really comes from it.
Sure, but there is some effect, I think.
Right. Yeah. Gatto gets up and she lands a few more knees, and so like I said, she's probably ahead on volume. But when they'd elevate, Lipski lands some more, elevate back to the
Yes. Return to the feet.
Yes. And separate. Lipski lands some more up top. Solid leg kick. I think she just edges it for me. So I'm 10-9 Lipski.
I'm also 10-9 Lipski, but man, I actually I don't want to say agonized over it, but I was so close to going Gatto.
This was a very close round.
It was super, super, super close. Super close.
Like when Lipski's landing that right, she lands a big combo to the head late in the round. It's like, bam, that's solid right there.
Yeah.
And the leg kick. It's just nothing really.
Nice
Nothing Gatto had in that round was that big. I mean, she was sticking her, a little bit, but
no one
nothing
no
that
one landed
strongly.
anything that big here, and that's part of the problem.
Mhm.
A lot of them, especially in the first round, I don't think I pointed this out, but felt like for a while they were really just at the end of their punches too much. Like it was like they were just in range to touch, even when it wasn't just necessarily a jab. It just felt like they weren't quite. Maybe that's coming across differently on TV, but that's what it looked like to me.
Thank goodness Laura Sanko pointed out that our significant strike stats just mean any strike at distance, no matter how hard it is. She pointed that out in this fight when the numbers were shown on the screen, and it was like 36-12, and it's like, Gatto was landing these little pitter-patter knees against the fence.
Laura Sanko is a godsend. This is not because she's a woman doing the job. Okay, I don't want to make this like a sexist or even feminist thing or whatever thing. Right? It's not about that. She actually is trying to give context to things that no one else does. It's amazing, and we need more of it. And she said when she was on the as a participant in the California training call a couple weeks ago that I happened to be able to sit on, she said she was going to try and do that. And true to her word, she is. And it's not just the only time. She's done it other times.
And props to Bisping for saying how stupid it was that they do this.
Yes. Call it out. Make it part of the conversation. Make it sound dumb. That's how you get change, especially from within an organization like that. Like, you may not be able to affect change with the with like, let's say, the rules or the way the criteria is written overnight, especially, right? Just by calling it out. But within the organization, if they're putting it on TV like, hey, this is dumb, maybe they start actually changing.
Yeah.
It's their own organization. They can just change that. So, yeah, I like it. I'm really happy about that. Spot on, dude. You're pointing out everything tonight. I love it. You're making me happy. But yeah, like I said, this was hyper close. I saw it like you in favor of Lipski, just as judges D'Amato and Lee did, which obviously that is burning up one person in particular, like we said, who saw it the same way as Adelaide Bird for Gatto here, which is a perfectly good score too.
Fine.
And we just accept that and move on with our lives. You lost that unit. It's over. Move on.
It's over.
Get over it. Stop betting.
That's why it's gambling. You're fighting on two people. You have no control over what they do.
Yeah.
I know it can be fun, but
yes.
listen.
Yeah. I speaking of gambling, because and I don't do the MMA betting thing because of many reasons, but I like to bet on some other sports or here and there. I did win on my $10 bet on Joey Chestnut's under on the hot dogs.
Under.
Which was, he was far under. He had to hit 73 to make it a problem. He hit 62.
Okay.
Like what? Like he's Mark McGuire in 98 or Aaron Judge. Let's get out. That's not going to do enough. You got to hit 73. You got to get to Barry Bonds level. You got to get that juice on. And I don't mean like, drinking juice like you would maybe after you had a nice hot dog.
Yeah, no, I think it's the grossest competition there is.
It is disgusting, and I didn't watch it, especially because it was delayed by lightning. I was actually going to watch it if it didn't. Mostly because I like to show my boys just because I feel like we'd laugh at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind watching it if dunking the bread in water was illegal.
Oh, it's terrible. We were talking about
That
that.
is
Like, we had friends over that day.
thing.
We all thought it was awful. Yeah. But I will say, I'm trying to move away from betting on, like, let's say that day's game or something like that, because I'm finding I'm not nearly as good at that as I am on futures bets, like people are going to win awards or people are going to win the championship.
Yeah, better at overtime.
I am significantly
sample.
better at that. Like, I'm not going to do the legwork and figure out where I am because they don't separate bets like that on FanDuel. But I'll bet you I'm up on that, like well.
If you did bet MMA, I don't know if the mainstream books have this.
Okay.
But some books have where you can bet on who will be the champ for divisions at the end of the year. And I think you'd probably be pretty good.
I don't know if I would, because I feel like sometimes it can be very hard to predict that kind of thing.
Well, you just pick whoever is going to be the champ, like because they don't just get stripped; they give an interim.
But what are you going to win on that? Like maybe you can parlay a few.
I don't know.
But like, shoot, if you do that and you said, oh, well, I'll see Valentina Shevchenko's going to be the champ by the end of the year. Whoops! if you parlay it, you're bust. I don't know. I don't see. That one I would stay away from, even if I was a better, I think. But I'm glad I stay away. Let's move on. We got 4 rounds to get through. I think we got through the most interesting thing, but there's a round I want to talk about in a little bit. You know what? Let's move it up. I actually want to talk about this one instead.
Okay.
We talk about the one round from the men's side here. Grant Dawson getting the win over Demirez Magomedov. Unanimous decision, no doubt over who the winner was. 30-27 twice and a 30-26. Round 1 is our 10-8. We don't get a lot of splits in round 1. Usually if it's like a bigger one, it's going to be later on in the fight. Although I would say, I think you're more likely to get a split over round 1 than you round 2 when you're talking about the 8. So if everybody's on the 8, it's usually rounds 2 and 3. That's just anecdotal. I haven't done the stats on it, but observationally, I feel like in round 1 they're less likely to pull the trigger.
Okay.
Just from what I've observed. But I'd have to run the numbers. Maybe I'll hit that in the data show at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Just find that out.
Punch that in there.
But we'll talk about this one. Let's talk about round 1.
Really good round for Dawson. He gets a takedown, probably like almost like a minute in, I'd say. And he's quickly on the back with the body triangle, landing a couple little elbows, but no real close choke attempts. He's attacking, but nothing that close. Good defense from Ismagulov. And the thing is, Dawson's not really throwing many strikes here either. Kind of just like hand fighting a lot.
A little while.
About 45 seconds left in the round is when Dawson starts letting loose, and he lets some good ground and pound go.
I feel like he gave up on the idea that he was going to get the sub, and he's like, maybe I'll just hurt him.
Well, see, I thought that too, because he started punching him pretty good, and then he's like, oh, maybe I can get the sub now.
Maybe he just wanted to open it
and then
up,
he was like, never mind, forget it.
And he's just hoping it would open up, maybe. Right?
That last 45 seconds was enough damage for me to put it over. I can see an argument that the damage wasn't that high, because maybe it wasn't. Do you think you got dominance solidly?
100%.
And you got
easy.
And you have duration.
Yes.
And
2 Ds is supposed to be enough, first off.
But that's not how it's being applied.
No, it's not.
Damage
especially
is
in Las
supposed
Vegas,
to be.
That's what we've observed.
So I can understand why no one would go an 8 there. I went the 8. I think the damage was enough.
Well, not nobody went the 8. Mike Bell, the champion of the 8s, went 10-8.
So I'm with Mike Bell on that one.
I feel a little more strongly that this is an 8.
Okay.
And I get, like, if anybody understands the context of the fact that they're not giving the 8s unless it's higher damage, it's the guys who are talking here, right? But man, like, it's not like it was big damage, but you had something on top of the fact that there was very good D level dominance and duration, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we have a situation where this isn't someone riding out for points, right? This guy is trying to not just finish, but hurt his opponent. I think that's a difference maker. And I think sometimes that gets lost sight of. And again, I have a lot of trouble personally getting too down on the judges when they get into these situations, because the 8 has gotten so messed up over the while, and like maybe they've normalized it by now, right? It's been 2 years. I hope they have. But even still, this seems like the type of round that you're supposed to say an 8 for to me.
Oh, I would love if this was just like a textbook 8.
I don't know. I guess it's just me hollering at a cloud here, but I definitely want to see this as an 8. So I feel kind of strongly about it. Obviously, the criteria as written does support it, whether it's implemented that way because of, unwritten mandates or what have you, or expectations from, bosses, or just, again, maybe it's just stemming from Dana. I don't know. I just don't like to see it. I really want to see this round be an 8, and it bothers me that it's not, but also it didn't matter in this case. So
no, I actually thought Dawson had a better performance than Strickland. I was more impressed with that.
It was great. But, dude, everyone slept on Grant Dawson. Was he the underdog here? I think he was. I didn't actually look, but I could swear somebody said he was like an underdog to Damir Ismagulov. Maybe I'm wrong, but no matter what, like, I looked at this fight, and I don't like to make public picks especially, but sometimes I got a guy in my head that I'm like, or a gal in my head that I'm like, they're going to win. I looked at this fight and I said, Grant Dawson's a monster. And he's definitely going to beat Damir Ismagulov, who literally retired and then unretired within 3 months. Like, that's not the type of guy you want to be in that mental space with right before you face. Mm-hmm. Grant Dawson's a monster. He's going places. I don't know if he's going to be the champion one day, but I think he's someone who's actually going to stick at in that young. Upper level. He's young, and I believe he's 8-0-1 in the UFC. That's a damn good run.
Yeah, that's especially at lightweight.
Absolutely, yeah, a monster. Well, he moved up from featherweight, to be fair.
Okay.
So part of that is down there, but nonetheless, he beat a bona fide guy that people at least had some respect for in Damir Ismagulov.
Ranked opponent.
Yeah. And he certainly has a number next to his name now.
They both had a number. He was 15 coming in.
Awesome. He's a bigger number now.
Now he might be top 10.
I think he actually did. Now, I mean, the UFC ranking panel is incredibly stupid with a panel of people that no one's heard of. But yeah, it's the one that apparently carries the most weight.
Yeah, Dawson jumped up to 10.
Stamped. Yeah, good for him. That's where he belongs. He should be fighting up in rank again.
Yeah, how long he stays there depends on what Jalen Turner does this weekend.
Also, he said it's 90% his team and 10% him. I'm going to disagree.
That's just humble talking.
It's a little, it's overly humble. It is. Also, probably don't call your wife the B word, even if it's loving. It's just, maybe not on camera anyway. Like, you want to do it at home, it's all right, but like maybe not on ESPN. Just not the venue. You know what I mean? I would say, even if I did that with my wife, which I don't, she would not like that.
Was
she would really not like that on TV.
Was it censored?
I don't believe so. I watch on ESPN Plus, and nothing gets bleeped out.
It should never get bleeped out, no matter what it's on.
So, like,
it's face punching.
I heard when Strickland was talking, like, most of what he said got bleeped out. He didn't even say anything that crazy, even for Sean Strickland, which was wild. But yeah, nothing got bleeped out for me. So,
good.
If you have the option and you're watching through the app, watch the ESPN Plus feed because they don't care. Do you want?
That's how it should be.
Well, there you go.
They're punching each other in the face.
Anyway, I feel very strong about that. But what does that mean? Because Sal D'Amato and Chris Lee saw it as the 9, but it was, again, Mike Bell who saw the 8 for Dawson.
Couchside over.
Great one for Bell. Ring the bell, too.
Ding.
Yeah. Should have a bell. Noise.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the more or less interesting rounds.
Yeah, well, we'll move on to we're halfway through. These aren't going to be quite as great. We can get through. One of them is at least a split decision, so we're talking about, who won the fight, right? Carl Rosa did get the win over Yana Santos. It was 29-28 twice and a 29-28 for Santos. Round 2 is our split here after Santos had a nice first round and Rosa got the third round. So what's happening in round 2?
Yeah, Santos is starting fast, landing some smaller shots, gets it against the cage where she spends a decent amount, throwing knees and elbows. I don't think these are particularly hard, but, she's ahead so far. At distance, I think Rosa is landing heavier, but definitely isn't that busy. Good knees in the clinch and kicks. Santos did land some. I just don't think it's that hard. Close round, but I have Rosa 10-9.
I went the other way. I actually went for Santos here. I thought her offense was basically just a little more effective the other way.
All right.
I don't have a whole lot more to say to that. I don't think I can add to it, and I don't really want to. Mm-hmm. So you're going to accept that and deal with it. This is really not that big a round, not a crazy round, and I don't think it's one we should be having tantrums over either. But I didn't see any. So
no, but I mean,
at least
so much for Sal and Chris being the ones that always sway things.
Yes.
On opposite ends of the way this time.
Yeah. That was another thing that was pointed out, and it actually prompted me to put a little bit of a stat out here. I will throw this into our little show here because yes, it was pointed out again in aforementioned tantrum from Luca Fury that that in his estimation it's Sal D'Amato and Chris Lee who are always teaming up on the same side and throwing things out of whack and doing the wrong thing and they're corrupt and on and on all blah 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 blah, right?
A lot of hubbub.
Sure, we can go with that. But anyway, it finally got me thinking because I did do this much more in depth than I didn't have the time to do it to a lot of people. But I said, okay, why don't I just see how in step Sal D'Amato in particular is with his fellow judges I went for like an 18-month period all the way back to the beginning of 2022, right? I'm stalling because I'm trying to get to the statistics as I get there. But what we have is, and I have it here, the data of Sal D'Amato and his agreement with other paired judges on scored UFC rounds since the start of 2022. With the aforementioned Chris Lee, they have scored 176 rounds together. They've had the different winner on 20 of them. They agree 88.6% of the time. With Mike Bell, more rounds together, 217, 26 of them, they had the different winner for a rate of 88% agreement. With Derek Cleary, another judge who he works incredibly frequently with. These are some of the top working judges, right? Most frequent judges. 180 rounds with Derek Cleary, 26 of them, once again, different winner. The rate of agreement is down to 85.6. So what we see here is that he is in step, Sal D'Amato, with Mike Bell just as often as he is in step with Chris Lee. Just about exactly as often in terms of rate, which is counter to what, again, Luca Fury is saying in this instance, which he is saying, Mike Bell, way better judge. Defending him as a great judge, but not Sal D'Amato, when, once again, they're just as likely to agree with each other as Judge D'Amato and Lee. Now, I do completely agree here that Mike Bell is a terrific judge. He really is. He already got a couchside override. Bing. But I don't see any sort of difference in the way he's in step with one judge compared to another judge who he frequently works with. And I think the data bears that out. That's why I like data.
But Scott,
we got
99% of fights are easy to score.
They are. Oh, that's right. I forgot. 99%. What a bad tantrum. He should have just gone to bed. I really don't dislike Luca Fury. I actually don't. But he gave a lot of fodder, so we're that's where we are. Let's move on. We gave our winners here, right? Do we have anything else to say? I don't feel like saying anything else.
Kyle Hossa.
Yeah.
And you were Santos. So.
I'm done. Yeah. We're split here. Whatever. I saw it like Sal D'Amato. You saw it like Chris Lee and Ron McCarthy. It's a split decision that happened, and we're going to move on with our lives to another fight. Luana Carolina getting the win over Ivana Petrovic, newcomer to the UFC. UD, 29-28. Everyone had the same score. Got there a different way because Tony Weeks was out of step on 2 rounds from his peers, David Leatherby and Ron McCarthy. So we're going to talk about round 2 first, then round 3. What happened in round 2? Yeah,
early on the feet, Carolina is clearly landing better. Petrovic gets the clinch, and she probably wins this part, but not by much with her knees. Back at distance, Carolina is just landing better again, but Petrovic lands a big 1-2 punch combo to the head that wobbles Carolina a bit, and they clinch and exchange knees. That combo makes it close, but I still think it's Carolina 10-9.
Bad round. Should never have been scored the other way. No, this is a perfectly close round. I saw it for Carolina as well, but I don't think it's that crazy. I don't have much more to add. We saw it, again, the majority here being David Leatherby and Ron McCarthy. Mm-hmm. So it was Tony Weeks on his own here. Perfectly fine. Just went the other way, and we disagree. What about round 3?
I think Carolina's winning on the feet. On the ground, she's winning most of the transitions. Landing some strikes in between. The longer it stays in the ground, though, Petrovic starts attacking the legs. She got a toe hold attack, a heel hook attack. She landed some strikes in these positions while Carolina was defending. But she also ate some strikes. I don't think the sub attacks were all that great, but I can see why you'd score for her. But I like it for Carolina 10-9.
I also like it for Carolina 10-9. I think it's a solid, fine round to go that way. I think it's close enough to go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I think we still ended up with the great winner. I feel like on the whole, it was a better fight from her,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the nice thing about this. But if you give those other 2 rounds the other way, I get it. It might not be the best for optics. This might be one of those cases where people start to freak out and have actual tantrums about, right? But no, I think we still had the right woman over the course of 15 minutes, got her hand raised, even though you can go the other way. So I did see it all 3 rounds like you did for Luana Carolina. And this time we agreed with Tony Weeks, who was on his own. So what does that mean for Judge Weeks?
Couchside over.
We don't get too many Tony Weeks couchside overrides, I feel like.
We don't.
I'm not remembering too many. It's happened. I know it's happened.
He's gotten a couple.
Yeah. I don't think too many, but good on him. That's a nice one. Nice to cap it off. That was our 6 rounds for contested rounds. We are done with them for the week. Not too long before we're talking about some more. But favorite finishes out of 6, Dan. We had 4 TKOs and KOs, 2 subs, 4 first-round finishes, all in a row in the middle of the fight card. That was fun. What was your favorite?
I like Benoit Saint Denis, rear naked choke over Ishmael Bonfim. Crazy fight, to be honest. Saint Denis just kept laying into the body with the left kick, and Bonfim was like, "Yeah, give me more of that, please. I want you to keep kicking me, please." And I'm like, "Wow, this guy's insane." And then he almost came back, and he was kind of getting the better of Saint Denis for a minute, and then he wasn't, and he got choked. So
these things happen.
It was a fun fight.
Yeah, it's Benoit Saint Denis. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
I know. The OC always messes that up. It's Benoit Saint Denis. It's a very American name. I believe he actually is from France. That was a nice one. My favorite, though, was,
Best of luck.
This is almost sad here. Renat Fakhretdinov just cracked Kevin Lee in his awaited return to the UFC, who, he was almost basically knocked out from that one shot. But then he got choked unconscious, all inside of 55 seconds. It didn't last long. It wasn't a great performance from Kevin Lee. It was not the type of thing he wants when he's coming back. This was his weight class. He moved up to 170 like he wanted. Sure would have preferred 65, but that's obviously not an option, unfortunately. I think we both want that, right?
That'd be fun.
But yeah, that stung for him. But Fakhretdinov, I like where he's heading. He's an interesting prospect at 170.
Oh yeah, it should be good. Good on Herb Dean too. He was like, he really made sure he was out cold. Like I know, I do mean that.
What are you trying to say?
I mean that genuinely.
Oh,
that he
it came off as disingenuous.
No. Like he actually, I thought it was a good stoppage. Like,
okay.
He definitely knew he was out, and he's like, okay, now it's really over.
Herb gives a really long leash from time to time, and I think sometimes he's criticized for it, and I think sometimes he even deserves it. But I think here, I think he actually did it right. Mm-hmm. I had no problem with that at all whatsoever. Hard job, like Paul Felder says this all the time. It's a hard job, And I think that's a really important thing to say.
He says it's a hard job, but he has a lot of criticism.
But you know,
So-
but the fact that he'll even admit that it is a really hard job, like I feel like it's still better than the average person talking about it.
Alright.
When is Dominic Cruz ever going to say it's a hard job?
Oh yeah, I don't think he's going.
I don't think he ever will.
I mean,
think
I think I've heard him say things like, "Oh, I wouldn't want to judge this fight." Stuff
yeah,
like
I think
that.
he's probably said that, but that's basically just an admission of he just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Okay. All right. Fair.
You know, in such a way that most people just like throw away, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, that's enough of that. UFC 290. We're only a few days away now.
Let's go.
I like this one. I like this card.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Pay-per-view. This is when did they ever put out an early July pay-per-view where you were like, I don't know if I'm buying this one. This is the one they always stack. It's unfortunate we had some casualties, you know, down the main card, right? But at least we still have our 2 title fights, assuming everyone makes weight. Alexander Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez unifying the 145-pound title, which is such a silly thing because, you know, Yair fought the same night Volkanovski did for the 55-pound belt.
Yeah.
Whatever. They just wanted to do something. So I felt like they wanted to give an opportunity to get Yair a belt because it could help their Mexico strategy. I think he's amazing.
Oh, he's
But
fantastic.
also, it could have just been a number 1 contenders fight. And I think most interim belts at this point are used really stupidly. So
Okay.
that's really my belt. My quarrel is entirely with the actual interim belt idea. But I love this fight. And I like that it looks like someone who could really put Volkanovski in dangerous situations, which is the last time we had that was Brian Ortega.
Right.
And that was a really fun fight. So I'm curious to see what kind of fight we get here. I like that one. Do you like that one?
I do like this fight. Yeah.
Like obviously like it, like in the context of like other title fights. You like this one?
Oh yeah. This is the matchup I think we've been wanting for a while, but Max just wouldn't let it happen. So
I like it. I like it a lot.
yeah, this is a great headliner. I'm glad they didn't decide to put like a 170 on this card and be like, nope, Alex, you're co-maining.
Well, Volkanovski he fought the last time that they did a fight week, right? He was International Fight Week.
Okay.
He was also on that card. I think it's nice to put him as a staple there too, because he is a talent that they really should be highlighting. I think we're actually watching an all-time great who's ascending still.
Well, he just gets better each time.
He does. Man,
That's
I mean,
why
obviously he lost that fight up at 55, but I mean, shoot, I'll bet you we're gonna watch a lot more fights with Islam Makhachev coming up, and I bet you that they won't be nearly as competitive as Alexander Volkanovski was in that fight. He didn't win, but like, darn it, he had his moments. And I think if he makes some adjustments, I wouldn't rule it out if they ever fought again.
Oh, I think they're going to fight again.
I also think they're going to fight again, but
almost a guarantee.
It really just depends on how far off it's going to be, because obviously 55 gets really backed up, you know?
Yeah.
That can be the tricky part there. And sometimes you got to strike with iron's hot. Iron's a little colder now. Who knows? But I hope it does happen. I do love the other title fight as well. I like that there's a storyline here. Brandon Moreno obviously going against defending his belt against somebody new. Amazingly.
Right, yeah.
It is not Davis Figueiredo. It's Alexandre Pantoja, another fighter who's had some real good success against him in the past. I like that we have that angle here. I always like it when like the guy challenging for the belt has some wins over, because then you start to really cast doubt over the champ, but also not necessarily in such a way where you rule out the champ.
But yeah, I don't think you can rule out Brandon Moreno now.
He's gotten so much better.
Yeah, he's really
since
good.
his fights. I think we all know that. I love this fight. I think it's gonna be fun. The flyweights always deliver, I think, especially in the championship level.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm almost positive we'll be talking about some of these rounds because they're going to be close.
Yeah, you know what I didn't put on here is the fight we expect most to be talking about. So I probably would have tried to pick one that's not, the main events or the main title fights. But yeah, I think you're right. This is probably almost definitely the one we're gonna be talking about.
And I'm going to add, we're going to be talking about a Bo Nickel 10-8, 10-9 split. Actually, no, I'm going to change that. We're going to be talking about a Bo Nickel 10-8, 10-7 split.
Oh, well, I'm going to say we're going to be talking about him as a potential favorite finish, but that's okay.
Oh, that'll come later.
No. First round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
They don't score the first round, dude. Wait, are we Virginia? Get out of here. This, of course, of Nevada, which is great because, once again, we get those amazing Nevada judges. It wouldn't surprise me if Sal D'Amato was back in the chair for one of these title fights at least, but we got two, so there's plenty of 5-round experience, big fight experience to go around.
I wonder if David Leatherby will still be in town because he did this last card. Maybe Ben Carlich comes in too. They're both Nevada judges now.
Yeah, but I mean,
so maybe they'll also be. It only makes it better.
Yeah, but I don't know. I want to stay in Vegas for 2 weeks. That's how you go poor.
Whoa! I could live in Vegas.
Then you go poor.
I love that city.
I would worry about your finances. I would put you on an allowance.
You should only be worried about my finances because it's so expensive to eat. You don't have to worry about the gambling portion.
Sir, it's all part of the equation.
You just
I
have
understand
to
the food is there.
You just have to worry about how I'm going to eat because it's so expensive out there.
Well, they say here's my suggestion. They love buffets out there, right? Is it still a thing? Because obviously post-COVID, is that gone? Did that die?
There's like 3 buffets. Caesar's $65. The Wynn is $75. And I don't even know if the Bellagio still has a buffet or not. I just know the Caesars and Wynn are 2 buffets I am 100% sure are still operating, and they're $65 and $75 each.
But here's the thing. That's what you do. You now become one of the, what do they call them? The ones that just eat like in a short period of the day. I forget the term for that.
Fasters?
No, it's not fasting. It has a name. It was intermittent fasting.
Intermittent
That's
fasting.
what it is. Yeah, you're right. You're close.
In an 8-hour window.
Yeah. No. But like what you do is you go to the buffet and you eat a whole day's worth of food, and then you just deal with that as your $65 for the day. You paid 3 times. Paid for 3 meals for $65. It's not as bad.
But you only get a 2-hour window.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you go in there, you eat quick, and then maybe you take a break, go do something, and then come back and have the rest of the food for the day, and that's it.
Okay.
I don't see. I think I'm a genius.
You might be.
I also don't like the idea of intermittent fasting, but like if that's if it's about saving money, like
I do it.
I get it.
I do it accidentally.
I kind of do sometimes too.
Like,
I forget what I'm doing, and then I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten today. I actually do. That's unfortunate. And I do love to eat. That's the funny thing. If you saw me lately and you saw me before, you know that I love to eat. Anyway, other fights on this one, which there are plenty, but I think it starts to get a little like less as far as name value as you go down past like the ESPN aired feature prelims, or is it ABC? I don't know where they're airing.
Are they on ABC this week?
I'm not sure. I assume
which
ESPN,
is horrible.
But they might be.
It is horrible because they do bleep them out on ABC.
Yeah, that's true. I remember back when they were on ABC a couple weeks ago for the actual card, somebody was cursing on it, and it might have been David Onama, and he cursed like a few times, and DC was like, man, we're on ABC here, dude. You gotta watch out the cussing.
See, I don't mind if they bleeped a quick cuss word, but when they hit the bleep button, it is bleep.
Oh, it's everything. Yeah, you'll never hear anything again.
For 5 seconds.
Yep. Yeah,
and you miss the whole interview.
Yeah, don't curse because no one will ever hear you again. That's pretty much it.
There you
go. Or if you curse and you forgot to hit record, you will find out you didn't hit record so that you could get to do your whole show again.
There you go.
Sometimes it's really
there
useful.
You go.
That's the truth.
Glad it happened 3 minutes in and not an hour in.
That would have been very tragic. But I do, again, there's a lot of great fights on here. On the main card, we talked about this before, Robert Whittaker, Dricus du Plessis. I feel like some people are just completely writing off du Plessis. I'm not, but like, I get it's a top 10 fight. This is a legitimate matchup. This is different than Strickland against Abas.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a good fight.
I think it'll be fun. There's at least some drama here. I feel like they just want Dricus du Plessis to get in there because there's going to be a little bit of a storyline
with Izzy,
and they can avoid the potential of the third fight between Whittaker. I mean, he loses here. Like realistically, his path to the 85 title is probably closed. So there's a lot on the line for Bobby Knuckles here, and I like that. It's hard to dislike him. You mentioned Bo Nickel, of course. He lost his original opponent, which was
Sean Brady.
That would have been fun. Wait, Sean Brady? No, yeah. Sean Brady was Jack Della Maddalena.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you mixed up.
Tresean Gore. That would have been fun too because Tresean hits pretty hard.
Yeah.
But Bo would have beat him. Yeah, my bad. Sean Brady and Jack Della would have been awesome.
Yes, that would have been a terrific fight. That, I think, was the real tragedy here because I feel like it doesn't really matter who you put Bo Nickel in against. It's really just about watching the next Bo Nickel step, giving him a little bit of cage time.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what it is. But yeah, Jack Della, he's going against here Josiah Harrell, a late replacement. I don't know much about Harrell. I think he's unbeaten.
He is. He's 7-0.
Sure. It still feels like unfortunate that they couldn't get any other names out there, considering the people thrown in their hat were like Kevin Holland and all these people, but they didn't want to do that. I think Kevin Holland was saying he needed to hit 175. And I know it seems like in particular, the UFC hates doing 65 and 75 because those are the divisions that people want. And I think they know it because they'll do 180 in the last few years. They've done 180, they've done 150, they've done 140. They do not want to do 65. They just don't want it. They don't want 75. It's clear they don't want it. They've done 95, though. 95 they seem okay with. But I think it's probably because nobody's really pushing for that one. That's just my... that might be my what's it called? My conspiracy theory. But I feel like I can support it.
And I'm pretty sure Dane is on record saying how much he hates catchweight and that it means absolutely nothing. So maybe Jack Dell is like, listen, I don't want a fight in Dana's eyes to be viewed as nothing or worthless.
What
So
I think is stupid is like Dana will say that, right? But like he'll put together fights that like Agus Magomedov against Sean Strickland. That's a nothing fight. It doesn't matter what weight it's at. It's a nothing fight.
that was supposed to be a Strickland showcase, which it basically was.
It was. It ended
But
up being.
he took some damage in that first round.
I think that was. I think part of it was strategic. I think he was trying to wait it out. And,
Okay.
he does that high. No. I'm not even trying to like be goofy here. Like I'm serious. Like he does that high, like protect himself, looking like he's almost scared from time to time. Guard here, where he just kind of takes it a little bit. Right. It's a bad look, especially for someone who says he goes there and out there and he just wants blood. He wants to kill people in the cage. And then he looks like that like most rounds. But then round 2 comes out and he actually did look like that. A credit to him, but against an overmatched opponent.
Yeah, do that.
So.
Do that all the time.
You can't because he's not against overmatched guys all the time.
I wish he would.
He goes
Just
against
do it.
guys like
Just do
that
it.
are as good or better than him.
GSP did it.
Yeah.
So just do it.
GSP's a great. And Sean Strickland, I'm sorry. I don't think anyone's looking at Sean Strickland saying,
Probably
maybe he'll be the GOAT one day.
No, I don't see that.
I'm pretty sure that ship sailed.
But just do it.
We also have to highlight, of course, Robbie Lawler, who we mentioned
At least
before.
try to do it.
Yeah. But he is in Robbie Lawler, his retirement fight. Advertised retirement fight. I'll bet you this is real. I feel like this is the type of guy who's like, I'm going to be good.
Well, this has been announced for months.
But also,
So,
I mean, what does our friend Sean Sheehan always say about retirements? Looking forward to the next one.
yeah, look forward to the next
I get it. And shoot, I could be wrong here, right? Robbie Lawler could easily just hang him up and then be like, you know what? I'm going to do bare knuckle MMA with Jorge Masvidal again. Whatever. But
I mean, I don't,
this feels like closing the book in a lot of ways, and I'm okay with it. I like Nico Price too. I like it's a good matchup. I like it. I think it's fun.
Nico's a fun fighter.
I think it's gonna be
He'll bring
a fun way for him to leave. I think Nico Price is most definitely going to engage him in a way that would allow us to potentially get a fun Robbie Lawler fight, unless he looks terrible and then looks old and we get sad, which certainly could happen too. Let's be real. These things happen in MMA. So I like that fight. You also highlighted here, and I agree as well, the other main card fight here, Dan Hooker against Jalen Turner at 155. This is a good matchup. I think they're both kind of not looking so, they kind of lost a little bit of the luster, I guess I should say. It's not that they're not looking great. Jalen Turner was doing really well. He just suffered a setback.
Yeah, Dan, a few more, but
yeah, that's true. He suffered a few more. That's fair.
but good on him to stop saying, I don't want legacy fights. I still want fights that are going to get me to a title.
Yeah.
He doesn't see himself just wanting to fight it out and have these, fun fights.
I think this could qualify as both. I think it actually, I could see this being like a sleeper fight of the night. I actually could.
All right.
Dan Hooker's been in some fun fights before.
Well, Dan Hooker's always in a war.
But I think Jalen Turner has a unique set of skills that could help him find his daughter, and then he will kill them. No, different type of skills. I like him. I think he's got a big frame. I think he's brings a lot to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I like this fight, and I think this is my sleeper pick for fight of the night.
Sleeper.
Deep sleeper.
Deep sleep.
Deep sleeper.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you could. Can you bet fight of the night?
No.
I
Well,
didn't
maybe
think so.
somewhere you can.
I feel like you shouldn't be able to bet on something that Dana White controls, so that Dana White could just make money off it. That feels tailor made to allow Dana to increase his net worth.
Did you know Davison Figueiredo and Manel Kape was on this card?
Yeah, it fell off a couple weeks back.
That's wild.
That was unfortunate because they actually, obviously we still have a good card here, but I think after the fights we talk about, again, it loses a lot more name value, but we're pretty deep at this point. This is a good card.
14 fights.
And it doesn't mean the early prelims are not going to be like fun, but to be honest, I didn't dive as deep into them. I kind of, a lot of times, just allow them to happen and see how it goes, unless I see somebody I like.
All right, that does it. We'll be back again on Monday. Back on our regular schedule program.
Hopefully for a while, too. I don't see anything coming up. I'm going away at one point. We might have to figure something out for that, but we'll figure that out. It's later in the summer. We'll figure it out.
Luca, no hard feelings. We still love you.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Hey, keep your eye out, Luca, for my project where I'm updating my Xbox and my N64. I know you liked that before.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Take care, everybody.